Hello everyone, how's it going? So I want to do a short review just in case someone is wondering whether they should buy the latest Metroid Prime Amiibos. Now I know these are very expensive. I believe this one is $50. Yeah, cost of one Expedition 33 and $40, the cost of two Silk Songs. So very expensive right now. In fact, I think Amiibos are really just like I used to love them. I have the entire Super Smash Bros. Collection, but if you don't know, GameStop was holding like a clearance sale for every major amiibo, basically, showing that a lot of companies just can't move these things anymore because a lot of people are not buying them. So I think they're making less of them because they were sold out, these, or it could just be like fear of missing out, FOMO. It could be a lot of stuff like first initial purchases are usually a high volume. But we'll see how they sell during the holiday season. There is a third one for the bad guy, but I think they're saving that until December when the game comes out for, obvious reasons. Because these figures, they're actually really good. Amiibo figures are pretty detailed, and if you want a cost-effective, at least they used to be cost-effective. They launched at $12 a piece, I believe, and yeah, now they're $20 a piece, and they go up to $50 a piece, like with the Kirby ones. They're still very high-quality figurines. They're just like, it's just hard to justify them, but at the same time, Nintendo does tend to lock behind content with these, like with the Skyward Sword Loftwing Amiibo. But let's open this. I'm probably gonna get a lot of people angry who are like, you should keep them in their box. I don't believe in that. I believe if you buy something, you should use it. So, and Nintendo keeps like literal these work on RFID tags, I believe. So they have like literal digital blockers on them in the box, so people can't just buy them in bulk, scan them onto their console, and just like resell them. It was trying to combat the reselling problem that Amiibos used to have. Like Meta Knights were going for $100 a pop because people would buy them out and reselling them. That and Rosalina and Ness. So first off is the motorcycle one because it's probably going to be the most popular one. It's opened. So you can see here. Like this thing is really high quality. Look at that. Like the motorcycle is really well done. Samus looks absolutely gorgeous, the red armor. Like if you were to buy this as just a collectible figurine, if you're a Metroid fan, this is actually really good. It's really cool. The blue bottom, Metroid specialized Amiibos have a blue bottom. I believe Kirby has well, outside from the Super Smash Bros. Ones, the Super Smash Bros. Ones are black on the bottom. But yeah, this is actually really high quality. Even the bottom of the dirt, it has grooves and everything. That's actually insane. It reminds me of old Hot Wheels. Like if you're old as me, people would open the car doors and try and turn the steering wheel, and they would usually turn with the wheel. Like I feel like this is the same level of quality. You actually put effort into this entire model. And the little purple here, you can see here, is translucent. You can actually see through it. Well, light comes through it, but yeah, this thing is really, really good. And you can actually feel the weight. Like it's a really, really good figurine. Wow. Samus just looks absolutely gorgeous. Now let's go for the other figurine. This is the cheaper option. Samus looking as badass as she always does. Open this. And yeah, you can definitely see the size of this thing is way bigger than the other Metroid Amiibos. Same thing for the ground, extremely detailed. Like, this is a really gorgeous Amiibo. Like, it's still very expensive, I'm not going to say that. Like, and when you touch it, it definitely feels like, kind of cheap plastic. But when you just look at it, it looks really badass and great. Like, if you love Metroid, this would be something you would put on your desk. And it's really just really well done. Like, the armor is so gorgeous. Like her gun, her helmet, the red in this in particular is just so shiny and well done. Like it's a really, really high quality figurine. It's just like, yeah, it's made of just pure plastic, but regardless, like these two, wow. They're really well done. Like I can't argue against that. Look, I'm not a hardcore amiibo collector. Like, even though I said I have the Smash collection, I'm one of those people, if once I buy one, I have to have them all. That's why once I do that, I'm just like buying the ones that I really like. And these, I don't regret the purchase at all. Like, yeah, these two cost as much as a full AAA game, at least when AAA games were affordable. But I'm happy with these. If you're a Metroid fan like myself, my favorite Metroid game would have to be, I want to say Metroid Fusion. I love that one, but I also understand that game is next to impossible to play without a guide because you will get lost. I also like Metroid Other M, despite what other people say. I actually really enjoyed that game. It was made by Team Ninja. Yeah, I know the voice acting sucked and the story was kind of here missable, but if you follow the lore of Metroid, you know that Samus does have a lot of opinions. She's not as cold-hearted as she comes off. She actually does care deeply for her companions, and she's actually terrified of Ridley. To me, that's one of the interesting facts a lot of people don't know. Samus is actually terrified of Ridley, but even though she's scared of him, she bottles up that fear and rage and uses it as fury to fight against him. Like, I think Metroid Other M is the only game that really highlighted how scared she is of Ridley. But despite all of that, she still fights and still overcomes that fear and anger and fights with every level of coordination and strength that she has. To me, that's what makes Samus such a cool character. That despite all her issues, she keeps them under control and she's able to dominate almost any situation, whether it's fighting the X Parasite, which is terrifying, fighting SAX, which is like Metroid is actually very surprisingly mature and dark once you start getting into it, and it's surprising how violent the series is considering it's made by Nintendo. Like look up how unbelievably violent Ridley is, and he makes like someone like Spencer from Resident Evil look like Fisher Price in comparison. Ridley is one of the most dangerous and intelligent creatures you can possibly encounter, and Samus takes him down every time. But yeah, I know I went out of a tangent, but I love the Metroid franchise, and I wish it gets more coverage that it does. I mean, Nintendo still shows that they love this franchise. To me, it's one of those building block franchises that make Nintendo great. Yeah, they're a bit on the rocker there, but it's like with Star Fox. Star Fox hasn't had... I feel like that's more neglected than Metroid. Like, we haven't had a proper Star Fox game in, like, ever. We haven't even had ports of Star Fox 64 3DS, which is one of the best ports of the game, onto the Switch, which sucks. But either way, I know I went on a bit of a tangent, but these are really well done. If you have the money to spare and you're a huge Metroid fan, I feel like they're worth the price. But if you're not, you know, I can understand why people don't want to pay for them. Like, it is expensive, but they're still very cool figurines. Either way, that's it for me. Bye.